Welcome to One Insight. My name is Rich Litvin. I grew up in London and I now live in LA. And this is a podcast for extraordinary top performers. You see, I've coached some of the most successful and talented people on the planet. I see what most people cannot see, and I dare to say what most people wouldn't dare to say. And what I know about success is that on the other side of it, it can actually be lonely. You can feel like more of an imposter the more successful you become. And when you're the most interesting person in the room, you're actually in the wrong room. I coach around insight. Life looks one way, something happens, the world looks different, and your entire world changes. It can happen in an instant. And this podcast is called One Insight because a single insight can change everything. You're going to hear me coaching Tasha. She calls herself a recovering overachiever. I know that story well. Driven, ambitious, never knowing when to stop, never wanting to stop, always wanting to accomplish something more than you've just accomplished. But she knows that there's a different way. And she begins to ask me, what if I could do less? And I offer a new distinction. And then I provoke her. And then I tell her we're done. Faster than you've yet heard me do on one of these sessions. Remember, your clients are paying you for two things. Number one, the insights they get in the space that you create. And number two, the actions that you encourage them to take. I create space for an insight. It happens very fast in this conversation. Then I push and provoke her into action. Enjoy. Hi, Tasha.
Hello.
Well, thank you for coming to play with me today. And I say that deliberately because sometimes coaching can feel intense and sometimes it can feel heavy. But let's bring some lightness to it today. And
sounds good. Thank you for having me.
What would serve you? What would be of value for you today?
Gosh, I feel what's coming up for me today is a couple of things, but the one that's kind of top of mind is continuing to reframe the idea of doing less on a deeper level. It's been kind of my mindset reshifting for the last several years. However, now that I'm in full-on coach mode, as I left the hospital last year from work as a registered nurse for almost a decade, while I had been growing my coaching business the last about 4 years, I noticed myself when I first went full-time in my business, almost diving in really intensely, because when it's your business, there's always something to do. And so it was like I had to step back to kind of notice where I was maybe overstepping boundaries and going into my typical overachieving mode.
So you're a recovering overachiever?
Yes, for sure.
Welcome.
One of my friends calls me a relaxed type A.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's usually my community because it's how I've been for much of my life. There's a reason that the phrase you hear me say more often than any other phrase is slow down to speed up. I'm not saying it for you or anybody else. I'm saying that for me. And if people get value from it, that's great. So whilst I heard you talk about reframing doing less, I like the phrase less but better.
That's a good one.
Yeah, because the feeling we have inside of us, a bit like it's not slow down to lie on the couch and do nothing all day. It's slow down to speed up. It's looking for what are those 1, 2, or 3 things I can do today that's going to have an exponential effect tomorrow.
I like that because it also makes me think of quality. When I'm doing too many things at once, my energy is also dispersed. And so being able to do less but better, to me, it just really makes me think of quality.
I'm pausing in this moment to check in because sometimes an insight is simply a distinction that we didn't have a moment earlier. You were talking about doing less and I shared less but better, and things can shift. So this would sound a little outrageous, but we could be there in 90 seconds. I want to check in with you.
Yeah. I think it definitely is a good one that already, as you said, had me have a bit of an insight because it already makes me think of what can I let go of, like instantly, like what can I release out of those things that I am doing. I think there's a bit further I could go with it, but it definitely gives me
let me
something
push it.
to think about.
Let me be provocative.
Yeah.
What if that's just your recovering type A, like, well, let's do more, Rich. Come on, there's no point me being on with here for 90 seconds and then being done. Like, what else could we do? I've got your time. Like, let me stay. Come on, there's more. But what if there wasn't? What if this was the most important practice that you could do? When you get an insight, when there's something that's valuable to take action on, you pay attention to the insight, or you take action where there's value, and that's it. Less but better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think, as you said, it allows me to pattern interrupt away that old tendency to just kind of dive in for more. And I think, something that also comes to mind is, for me, something that's been a big game changer for me as a recovering type A or overachiever is pausing every week. Every Sunday, I journal on my wins or celebrations for the week. And that allows me to pause and be still and really appreciate and embody those things that I have accomplished, rather than just pushing ahead to the next thing without actually, pausing to see where I am and where I've been. So I think this is similar in a way.
And that's a great practice. We don't do this. We're always looking at what's next, how can I improve, and just to say, what am I proud of? That's a great practice. And so let me give you a tool in this moment. If for the next 30 days, before you went to bed, just keep a scrap of paper by the side of your bed, or a journal if you like. And if you ask yourself, as I look back at the day I've just had, where did I do less but better? And then as I look ahead to tomorrow and I scan my calendar, where could I do or be less but better? If you use that as a frame each night to review the day you've just had and prepare for the day that's coming, your world will transform.
I love that. I love that, because it's definitely still an area I tend to go to as a default, making the long to-do list, and I have to catch myself. But I think this would be a really good reframe, especially checking in at night from the day and then moving forward. I love that.
Yeah. And you can do it too in the afternoon. Doesn't matter when you do it. Just have this ritual of checking in each day. Where was I less but better? What did I do that was less but better? As I look ahead to tomorrow, what could I do, or who could I be to show up as less but better? And I think we've got to model it right now. And as tempting as it is for me to want to stay and say, like, where else could we go? And as tempting as it might be for you to, like, but I'm with you now and get coached by you. This is the power of coaching. It's not time-based. It's insight-based.
Yes, I love that. Plus, it allows me to really, as I said earlier, absorb it, soak it in, and really look at different parts of my life where that does pop up.
I love that you're embracing this on. I can feel somebody else be pushing back and like, yeah, but I get it, but let's have more time. And you're really embracing it.
I'm embracing it, but there is part of me, as you said, that's like, okay, but what else can we do? Like, I can feel it in my body. However, this is something that I have been rewiring for myself. And so I can kind of catch it. Of course, there's always deeper levels of awareness that I can achieve, or, I can gain. However, in this moment, I'm like, okay, I'm here for it.
Beautiful. It's a practice, and you're practicing.
Yes.
So Tasha, I'm going to say thank you, and we're complete.
Thank you.
For most of human history, it wasn't called coaching. It was called leadership. And it's what I love to do, to coach people, to lead people, and to mess with people's thinking. If you'd like more of this, or if you'd like to learn more about our community of extraordinary top performers, go to richlitvin.com/oneinsight.